on air like that.
Oh,
Hello,
like live
everyone.
now.
Welcome to New Comic Book Day Book Club. My name is Alec. I run a channel called White Whale Comics, and I host this little show with this other guy named John. And I'll let him introduce himself in a moment, but we've got a true first tonight. And we've got ComicBooksNYC
What up?
in the chat.
What up, my YouTube fam?
He's a real person.
I am a real person.
With a beautiful view and an awesome R2-D2 hat.
Yeah, as you can see, I go to the school of Jeffrey Comic-Con Henson as far as my wardrobe is concerned. So
that's a good school. That's a good school.
Yep. What's up, Jeff? Oh, look at all these people in the chat. All my friends. Fire Guy Ryan, Bake the Snake, Wingnut, Mo. I got issues saying he brown. Yeah, the obvious. What's up, buddy? Well, this is the reason why this is the reason why I went face tonight, is because I got issues threatening to kidnap me and show people my face. So I'm just preempting
beat him to the punch.
issues. Yeah, exactly. But it's good to be here, guys. I appreciate it. I'm a big fan of this show. So and I feel bad that I didn't make it the first time around. So this is my redemption.
We were really worried.
Sorry, this is
that time
weeks in the making.
Just glad that you could, that you're healthy again and ready to roll.
Thank you, guys. So
and thank you for doing our job of shouting everyone out in the chat. That was cool.
I know. I say you really are following Jeffrey Comic-Con Henson. He's aces at that.
Yeah, you know what? I learned a lot from watching him do it, man. I did a live stream like super late last night. It was my birthday yesterday, and I just felt like kind of squeezing in a little birthday haul. So if anybody wants to check that out at some point, the replay is up on my channel. I got some great Grail books, some of my 2019 goal list books. Crossed them off last night, so check that out if you get a chance. I had a pretty awesome birthday, and it's my birthday week, so I'm just going to continue the fun here with you guys.
Appreciate you being
here, man, and congrats on the Grail books.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Issues.
Issues said last time you died, so I guess that's an excuse.
Economics and comics. Wow, they got you first. So I knew you'd be. I knew you'd be a little salty, Bill. But you know, I wanted to do it on your show, honestly. But per our discussion, I can't make the Saturday time because of the event that I'm pre-committed to on Saturday. So there you go, unsubbed.
Unsubbed.
I understand.
Fair enough.
I understand.
The official Slab Dragon Watson in the chat.
But I would like to come onto your show at some point, Bill, for the second one or whatever, and I'm happy to go face for that as well. And I regret saying go face already. I want to see what the joke is from Issues. So anyway, let's go, guys. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, we read a book this week, right?
No more talking about self.
It's a new comic book day.
It's new comic book day. That's what we're talking about.
Is in session.
First, how do we do it?
It's by Donnie Cates and you know. Might have heard of that dude, and Jeff Shaw, and it was. I mean, I don't feel comfortable going first with this one. Go ahead.
I will say I'm just going to start by saying that the last year has really been Donnie Cates' year. I think everybody kind of talked about his run on Thanos finishing out, his Ghost Rider run completing. His Venom run being so solid. It was really a year of kind of him taking the reins of Marvel and really taking it in a direction he wanted to go. And this is obviously the newest step in that process. I think in whether he was really passionate about these characters and this story, or whether Marvel pitched him to take over, this was just the next sort of step in that process.
Sounds like that's a preamble to you not necessarily liking the book all that much, but I don't know, maybe you liked it.
I'm not saying I certainly will say that I don't feel as strongly about it as I do about his Thanos run, or even about his Venom run, but at the same time, like, there are some great elements going on here, and for me I just didn't feel like his heart was as in it as his other stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm coming at it from a different perspective because I didn't read Cosmic Ghost Rider. I didn't read Infinity Wars, that miniseries that where Gamora went dark or whatever. I didn't finish the Thanos run. Like, I'm still working my way through that on Marvel Unlimited and all that, just sneaking it in between everything else I'm reading.
Sure.
I haven't been reading Venom, so
that sounds like this would become a very difficult read if you don't have any of that stuff.
So I don't have as much Donny Cates exposure compared to you guys probably if you've been actively reading those exact titles. And I know Fire Guy Ryan, he says in the chat that he also has not been reading much Cates stuff. What's up, Comic Head? So, for me, outside of the sort of initial eye-rolling moment that I had when they were going to do a Black Mirror style resurrection of Thanos by uploading his consciousness to, person XYZ or whatever, I definitely kind of was like, really, and then, but I got past that moment, and for the rest of the book, I found myself getting sucked into it, at least from the perspective that I know I want to keep reading the rest of the story. I know we're not really at the end yet, but I overall I felt pretty positive about it. There's a couple things that confuse me about it, and it's maybe because I don't have exposure to some of these other titles.
We've barely said anything. I got issues. Why are you getting on our case?
What's he saying?
He said, wait, someone add me to this show so I can yell at all of you in Super Saiyan Panda form.
Well, I don't know if he's saying that because he thinks we didn't like it, but I liked it personally. So,
the story, like, as you're saying, it does start with Star Fox or Eros giving the eulogy at Thanos's, you could say funeral, but it turns out to not be the funeral. It turns out more to be him trying to give a dire warning. The beheaded body of Thanos, apparently he's left also behind some sort of a hologram that's going to speak, and the hologram tells everybody who's there that he's made preparations for his own death and the possibility of being able to upload, like you're saying, his consciousness into a host. And he won't tell them who the host is, and he's saying he's going to enjoy them tearing the universe apart.
Was that the A cover, John? Did you get that one? Yeah.
I think we all got the same one.
That's the one I got. I mean, I thought about getting some of the variants, and I think I saw Sam's Tangled Web post the Ron Lim variant to his Instagram page, and I kind of regretted not getting that to some degree because
the wraparound one is really nice.
Big Ron Lim fan, but that's the one I went with as well. Sorry, keep going.
So
I got issues. Literally all I've said is I don't want to go first.
Yeah. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, say something.
No,
let's do it.
Continue.
I don't want to hog this.
You're in the middle of a thing.
I just want to get to like the plot, and basically like our Guardians, as we know them at least, Star-Lord and Groot are the only two that really show up in this book. We get to see them floating through space on their way to Nowhere, the floating godlike head in outer space, only to find that it's not there. They're dealing with grief. We don't necessarily maybe know if we haven't read, like NYC is saying, if you haven't read some of those other issues. I've read Infinity Wars 1 through 6, and it does explain why they would be in this sort of stupor. Right.
I didn't know where Rocket was or whatever when they said.
Yeah, I don't actually know that I remember where Rocket is. I may have to reread. But I do know that they were in a state of disarray, and it was just Groot with Star-Lord floating in space. And then it jumps back to our guys, and of course, it all kind of goes to hell. I don't want to. So here's what I'm saying. I like it enough for sure. I had an Alec moment, and maybe it's Alec rubbing off on me. Too many of these shows, I don't know. There's a 2-page panel here that made me want to scream. I was so frustrated by the artwork. And it's these pages right here. It starts with Ghost Rider decides to go and just hang out against the bar and start drinking. And then they all turn all of a sudden and they started, by the gods, look. And we're like, wait, where are they looking? You can kind of see that it's Ghost Rider's hand. So they're looking over Ghost Rider's shoulder. And then we see this head thing. And it's like, I don't know where this thing is. I guess it's behind him. And then it's all of a sudden, we don't see Castle turn, but he's like, oh, he's now looking at it. but I guess he turned around. Then there's like an explosion, and then they're all in space, but somebody is talking. It's like, who's talking to who? I don't understand what's going on. And then all of a sudden, this brawl just starts, and it's like, okay, this whole sequence I thought was just crap to me and frustrating as hell.
It was muddy in its visual storytelling.
Yeah, all of us
really flawed sequence.
Yeah,
it's so exciting, and I think it was just so poorly drawn.
Yeah, I think it took Silver Surfer saying like, "Oh no, they opened up a hole in the space." You know, whatever. For me to kind of
is like bad exposition dialogue.
Right? Yeah.
They have torn a hole in the space-time continuum, and we are all going to perish in 5 seconds. Countdown begins.
Yeah.
I got it. She says, "I like the Bernie Wrightson cover JD voice." And PJ, the Slab Dragon, says, "You should always listen to Alec, John."
And I will say, I was fine with the gimmick of the story. That there could be a Thanos download happening is intriguing and interesting to me, and I would be interested to see kind of where that story goes. For me, I was super frustrated by that one action sequence. It was so flawed in its structure, and then the visuals keep jumping all over the place. So you're like, okay, they fire something and they attach it to the body, and then they fire some other thing in some other direction, and people are looking this way and that way. Everything is like, it's really just badly planned and drawn. And those 2 pages were frustrating. The action was so poor compared to, like, if you read the final 2-3 issues of the Thanos run, the fights between Surfer and Ghost Rider and the 2 Thanoses, the artwork and the story and the structure of those panels are stunning. It is so tightly done. You know, the sequence is so perfect, and this just seems all over the place. I totally agree. I Got Issue says the Black Order part was rushed, and it's like the pivotal action sequence of the issue. So for me, I like the crux of the idea, and I'm curious to know where it's going to go. But if this is how they draw action in this series, I'm going to lose interest fast.
Fair points. I think a lot of the chat sort of agrees with that sentiment that that part just felt a little disheveled and disjointed to me.
Sure.
I felt a lot more comfortable once it got to Peter Quill and Groot and Nova Corps and how they got connected to the story. Whoa, what was that?
That was a motorcycle driving by my
motorcycle street. In my apartment. Oh wow, great. Damn. But yeah, okay. I don't want to hog the.
I will say this too.
But yeah,
I'm fine talking over Alec. I'm fine. I don't care. He isn't.
It's fine.
I will say.
Apparently, I got nothing to say tonight.
The mashup character thing, I know irks Ryan, and it does irk me to some level. I'm really hoping what they're doing with this Thanos thing is, instead of just mashing up, is to take a really underappreciated character, somebody that is not being utilized, not one of the big hitters, and let them play a villain part in a way that's never been done. Or, of course, the classic red herring, too. You could be told this could totally be a scam, and that could be just as interesting. I just really hope it's not a typical Marvel mashup thing.
Sorry, what was that? A character even says that in the book, saying that, like, this might just be his last deed to get us all to fight each other.
Yeah, that's what Beta Ray Bill says. And I would be totally happy to have it turn out that it was just a scam. Now, again, so for those that haven't read Infinity Wars 1 through 6, Gamora goes after the stones. She has a sword built that will hold the stones. She uses it to kill Thanos. She even tries to kill Star-Lord and almost does it because he stands in her way. And in the end, Doctor Strange slows time down enough to capture Quill just before he dies, and then saves him. But she basically,
Jason P. I read the book.
Okay, she straight up betrays
Jason P. says
her boyfriend or whatever.
Tonight reminds me of the kid who didn't do the reading but is still trying to hide it.
He just doesn't want to be the lone opinion of
Alec,
hatred.
I mean, Alec reminds me of the kid that like did more reading than necessary and is afraid to show it in class. So,
No, I'm just trying to be polite.
She does a lot of damage. Gamora does, and of course, it all turns to naught. She's in the end, she is sort of a pariah, and it's all her power's all taken away from her. And Quill is left kind of to deal with the fact that the girl he loved betrayed him for this personal wish that she was trying to accomplish, and that's kind of what's going on for Quill in his mind. I'm trying to remember how Rocket plays into it, but I missed a little bit of that in my mind.
Right. I mean, so I don't know how long we want to wait to talk about, the post-credit scene. Like it felt very much like a MCU movie post-credit scene in the way that it was structured to me.
Oh, totally.
But it confused me a little bit, honestly. I see that they're going one way with the sort of the consciousness of Thanos and a mystery character and a mystery to solve, but then they're also going the other way with the let's resurrect Thanos, and it's like which one of those story arcs is going to play out to the end, right? At least that's the way I read it, and see where it's going. And to me, that is where my curiosity's peaked. I'm just a little confused about the Hela perspective of it and where that came from, and maybe there's some backstory I missed in some of these other series that I missed. But so what do you guys feel about it?
Story wise, for those that weren't aware, the Black Order shows up to try to steal Thanos's body. They set off some kind of device to create a tear in space and time, and then use it as a way to escape with the body. And it sucks all the people at the funeral in. And Cosmic Ghost Rider uses his little chain to try to get out. Peter Quill shows up in time. They somehow catch the chain, and they reel in a few of our heroes who did not get fully sucked into the vortex or whatever. And he pull them aboard the ship, the Rider, which is his new ship. So it's Beta Ray Bill. It's, I don't know this gal, Phyla something. Phyla Vel. I don't know her. Moon Dragon, I do know her. And the Cosmic Ghost Rider. And the only way that they can't get arrested by the Nova Corps is if Peter Quill claims them as his crew. And so he sort of does that in a dramatic little moment. And then they end with the title. And then that's sort of like you're saying. You made a great comment, NYC, that it feels like a Marvel movie. And for me, there was even a beat that reminded me of Infinity War, when it was like all this drama and stuff happening, and then all of a sudden at one point, we cut to Peter Quill, and I could almost hear the music playing where it says space. Right. And it's like you could hear them listening to his player, and then it cuts to them in the ship, and he's singing. But instead of the whole crew, it's just Groot and Star-Lord, right?
And in some ways I liked it. In some ways, it annoyed me. But I think overall, I'm curious enough to keep going. But I'm going to cede the rest of my 5 minutes here to Alec. Go, Alec.
Yeah, Alec, you got to get in here.
I was just seeing how long you could go.
Could have gone all night, man. But just got to step in, man. Be aggressive.
No, that's all right. I'm just want to be polite and offer John his time.
I live with 3 women. I don't get a lot of time to speak.
That's sexist. Okay, so I read a book today called Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm going to tell you what I think about it for 5 minutes. So I enjoyed reading it. Let me say a few things about it, though. Number one, it felt like an event book. It didn't feel like what I was expecting from a Guardians of the Galaxy book. And that bummed me out because tell me, like, without knowing about the characters beforehand, can you tell me anything about any one of the characters in this book? Like, they're all just props. The plot is the character in this book.
I would agree with that.
And that bummed me out because all of these characters, like Star-Lord, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Groot, Beta Ray Bill, Silver Surfer, like these are all interesting characters that have rich personalities in other books that just didn't shine here because the plot was the focus. So having said that, I am not a big fan of event books. I'm not a big fan of universe scoping things. I'm a fan of character pieces. I'm a fan of smaller size stories. So take that for what it is. I was really bummed that Darkhawk was not represented. He's on the cover. And I missed him. This scene here was, I thought, super cool, where the hammer comes out with tied around Cosmic Ghost Rider's chain. I thought that was pretty badass. And you guys already mentioned it, but I could not be more sick of every single issue of a comic book ending like this.
Yeah.
How many comics have we read in the last 6 months that have ended exactly like this with a different villain?
Probably every single #1 that has been on this show.
I would agree. And it's just like, spoiler alert. Yo, bro, it's a full spoiler show. You should know that by now. I don't want to call Donny Cates lazy, but it's just like, it's a cop-out. You can come up with a better cliffhanger than, hey, here's a villain that you weren't expecting to see in this issue.
Sorry, Just Rican said, love your shirt. So it's a horse playing human.
Nice.
Yeah, I agree. It did feel like cheap writing. But go ahead.
Sorry for the spoilers. It didn't ruin anything.
And again, we're a spoiler show. So what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Comic had asked if there was a better read this week. I didn't read any of the rest of my pulls.
Me neither, but I'm fairly certain this is going to be aces.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to this.
I'm still catching up on that series.
You got good stuff ahead then.
3 issues in, so.
Do you think, Big Snake says, do you think Kate is spread thin because of all the issues titles he's working on? I don't think this was a bad book. I think it was well written besides that end part. I just think that, like, this isn't the book that I wanted. And maybe that's an unfair criticism, but, like, tell this story in Infinity Wars.
Yeah, it did feel like it felt like an ending to Infinity Wars, not the beginning of a Guardian story.
Right,
sure.
And maybe they're going to take it in a different direction, and it's going to be very focused on. But like, also, like, that team is huge. Are all these dudes really going to be on the team? Like, how you're not going to? It's going to be like worse than an X-Men title as far as like giving screen time.
Right, and because I didn't read Cosmic Ghost Rider, you know, it was obviously, I heard that Frank Castle is the character and all that, and I sort of put myself in that headspace when I was reading his character in this issue, but I didn't have that build up of his character. So in this issue, he was like a throwaway character for me.
Yeah, again, and that's kind of what I was hitting at, because the Cosmic Ghost Rider miniseries was like one of my favorite comics of last year, and he is such an amusing character, and he's just lost in the miasma of the rest of the book. And this,
what a word! Love it.
I honestly have never heard that word before. I've never seen it written, and I've never heard it spoken. So I'm gonna have to look that one up after the show.
If John lets me speak every once in a while, I'll bust out some things.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I heard there's a show on Saturdays called Married with Issues. You guys would fit on that show.
John knows I'm just kidding around. Sam says, I don't think anything about Cosmic Ghost Rider. Man, he's great.
I think there's definitely, it definitely feels like it felt a little bit like Kate's doing a favor for Marvel and doing a comic, but not necessarily being as in love with it as he is with you know, the Thanos story that he did and the Venom story and the Cosmic Ghost Rider, he was really clearly very passionate about those characters and was able to. But this, when he's got a whole slew of characters and maybe doesn't feel as passionate about some of them, I think he's maybe having a slightly more difficult time with it and managing it all.
I feel like I've said better words than miasma on this show. People are really giving me a hard time in the chat about it.
Yeah, after reading this, I feel like I need to basically go read Cosmic Ghost Rider. Like that's.
Yeah, I mean, you should anyway.
That's the takeaway that I have, both from what you guys are saying and what the chat is saying.
Well, certainly I'd finish Thanos first. I think that story.
Or finish Thanos first and then read Cosmic Ghost Rider. Yeah.
I think it's the pinnacle.
Before I pick up issue 2 of this, I think I have to do that first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Cosmic Ghost Rider stands on its own, though. I don't think you need to read Thanos.
No,
I mean, you should anyway. But
I honestly think that it's a superior writing. I like Thanos much better. I felt like Cosmic Ghost Rider didn't really have a point, and it kind of just sort of went off at the end. It's kind of just petered out instead of like really having something to say. Whereas I thought the Thanos story from beginning to end, especially the final whatever through to issue 18 or whatever it was, definitely had a lot on its mind.
Yeah, I don't know. Cosmic Ghost Rider was just fun to me. Made me laugh.
Oh, it was. It totally did. Yeah. Straight up.
All right. So I'll have to let you guys know what I think when I eventually get there. So, so should we move on to the discussion topic, or is there anything else we need to take away?
Yeah, we usually just say if we're going to put it on our pull list or not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to put it on my pull list, but I'm not going to read it until I get caught up on some of this other stuff that I missed that I just feel like will at least help me add some more contextual value to my experience while I'm reading this. Because to your point, Alec, it did feel like an event series, like the beginning of an event series. It's it's part 1 of 6. It even says that on the credit scene, right? The credit page, right? So, I feel like I need more knowledge of the current universe and what's going on in it before I continue with it. But I will pick up the issues probably.
Yeah, and again, like that goes back to the whole thing I was saying about how this felt like an event book. If I were like a casual fan picking this up off the shelf, I'd be pretty lost. And like I'm not a big Marvel reader as far as the universe goes, so I was, somewhat unsure about certain things anyway. But like this is a Guardians of the Galaxy #1. This is like a huge movie franchise. This isn't an event book. So the fact that you have to be so entrenched in the universe to understand it, I think is a weird choice.
Yeah, that's fair. I will definitely read the second issue, but if it has all the same problems, I might just skip the rest of the run. It's really going to have to make some improvements for me, specifically on any action sequences. I really want to see something more effective, and I'm hoping that they, like Alec is saying, spend more time on the team and less on this huge sort of cadre of characters. I think in general, I don't think this is the size of the team. I do think this was just to let you know, like, some of the options. They didn't want to give away the roster. I do think we got the roster at the end, that moment. I think this is going to be the team for the most part. Doesn't mean that we won't see Adam Warlock in an issue or Nova in an issue or what have you. But I do not think that this whole group will be the team. I'm hoping.
Yeah, for me, it's my favorite answer to this question. It's I'm going to trade weight because I'm intrigued by the story, and I think if reading all 6 together is going to read a lot better for me than reading a single issue, because I think I'm just going to get frustrated with it month to month.
Fair enough. Should we move on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Debate topic time. John?
Oh, okay. I get to speak again? No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I really bogarted this one.
So we were talking about how this is sort of not a reboot, I guess, but certainly a restart for this team. this cosmic team. So we thought it would be a kind of fun topic to talk about a favorite reboot for a comic book that we cared about, where we felt like it was really done well and reinvented well in some way. So there's a pretty broad topic, and there's a lot of things to talk about.
Just did because when we were talking beforehand, I didn't see us specified keeping it to a comic book. I thought it was just going to be general reboot, but
I'm fine with that as well. Yeah,
I have comic book choices and non-comic book choices, so whatever you guys feel like rolling with, or whatever we see in the chat come up. But what do you guys think is the best reboot in the chat? Start.
I knew Ryan would throw out the Bendis New Avengers, and it would definitely make a list of my favorite reboots. And it's not a reboot in the sense that they're starting from scratch. They're using characters in the current chronology of the story, but they're certainly taking the Avengers in a new direction with a new team.
Bake the Steak says Doom 2099. Jeffrey Comic-Con says Immortal Hulk.
Immortal Hulk.
Yeah, I thought about Immortal Hulk as a reboot because it really does take the character in a new direction and kind of bring him back to his roots for sure.
In a different way too. Either you fine gentlemen have a pick you want to throw out first?
Well, I mean, I don't want to take your TV pick.
No, it's fine. It's the correct pick.
I mean, the TV pick is Battlestar Galactica, but I won't spend much time on that.
So we all.
But for me, I think I have two comic book picks. And one is arguably a reboot, or maybe it's just a different definition or interpretation, not necessarily a reboot, but you can see it as a reboot. And for me, that's Frank Miller's Batman universe. So, that's the most influential Batman storytelling between Dark Knight and Year One that I have personally read as a comic book reader and as a big Batman fan. And I feel like the work that he did to essentially redo the origin story of Batman, which everyone now is sort of considers the origin story of Bruce Wayne, Batman, and also the influence that he had on future writers of the Batman story.
Totally.
Like if you go back and read Jeff Loeb's Long Halloween, and I mean
that's straight pulled from like groundwork for the
that is a spiritual brother sequel to what Frank Miller did on his time with Batman in the 80s, and that storytelling I think influenced Christopher Nolan and the Dark Knight films, and David Goyer, who wrote I think two of those films. So the influence of Batman on pop culture today, I think, leads back to Frank Miller's work on Batman. I think there's a direct correlation there. And
he did it twice, right? I mean, he did it with Dark Knight as well. I think he really was able to just reinvent him as a young man and then reinvent him as an old man as well.
Absolutely. So for me, that's kind of my reboot pick. I've got another one, but I'll let Alec, you go first. Maybe we'll swing it back around.
I just want to shout a couple things in the chat. Baked Snake says, for real, I'd say Mr. Miracle. And Issues said, I love Mr. Miracle, but would you consider that a reboot? I would, because he just hasn't been around for so long that I think like it didn't really like change his character, but it rebooted his,
appeal
being in the universe. TJ Watson said Giant Size X-Men 1, great pick.
It's a great pick.
Great Matter Hulk says
that Miracle is a reboot in the sense that it clearly is rebooting it in a more, I guess you'd say, raw or edgy manner. I mean, I don't remember the original Mr. Miracle or having ever read it, but I can't imagine it having the suicide attempts and the blood and the cuts.
Yeah, it's certainly a modernization of,
right?
Yeah.
In that way, it would feel like
really,
a reboot.
Yeah.
So for me, sorry.
Gray Matter Hulk said no BSG, you may see yourself out.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't think of Frank Miller. NYC, that's a phenomenal pick. And I can't believe I didn't think of Giant Size X-Men because that's like my grail book. I can't believe that either of those things that I love, I didn't think. For me, I just thought of character reinventions. in a big way. And I went to I love Robin, the original Robin, and Nightwing is such a great reinvention of that character, and to have him sort of get another extension to his story. And I felt like the sort of evolution of Dick Grayson from Robin to Nightwing, I always really appreciated that reinvention. It didn't ever seem cheap to me. It really did feel like, you know, I did just buy this trade today, but like the seed that was planted here led through to some really, really great story.
I think I saw you post that on Instagram, and Marv Wolfman signed that and you didn't know it?
I know my LCS knew it, but my LCS is notorious for getting him to sign stuff whenever he comes in, and then they just put it on the shelf, and if somebody buys it, they buy it.
So I have literally a box full of like graphic novels that I get people to sign things at cons, that I want to get people to sign things. So I had him sign this in Vegas.
Dude, that's so
Vegas
freaking
last
awesome.
year. So Italians.
I immediately went through the other trades on the shelf because he had a bunch of the other ones, but none of them were signed. And I was like, this is the one I really wanted anyways, so I'm going to grab this one, and then I'll come back. Hopefully he'll have signed some of the other ones.
Marv's really cool, man.
The chat is getting grim. It's almost like I'm in there.
They don't like our picks?
No, they're talking about how we're 1 minute closer to deaths every second.
Oh, geez.
Whoa. It was just my birthday yesterday. I don't need to hear that.
My pick might be on the fence as far as if it is a reboot or not. But I'm sticking with it.
Are you talking about Kate Bishop?
No, I'm talking about, for me, before this series, I did not care a thing about Hawkeye. I thought he was boring and useless and a dumb character, to be perfectly frank. And this turned him into what he should be, which is a street level crime fighting daredevil without superpowers. And it was, you know, it added a lot of humor to his character. It added a lot of like fun to his character, where like he's not like, I don't know. So this, to me, the reinvention of the character in this, and it's got Pizza Dog in it too, which is one of the greatest single issues in the last 10 years. So that's my pick.
No, that's a really good one. And I also considered, I don't think anybody threw out Laura Kinney. I think that X-23 is a phenomenal reboot, especially the all-new Wolverine run, which I've now read thanks to, you know, the Big Will gift. But like, it's just, I think, an interesting reboot for that character as well. Oh, geez. Comic Head 84. Yeah, it's a great example of a character having a second life.
Are you counting down to our deaths? I got issues.
So I mean, I don't know if it counts as a reboot either, but you know, as you can see, I'm a big Star Wars fan. I think I got a Star Wars shirt on right now too. Yep. So you know, obviously Disney bought Lucasfilm, and the comics came back to Marvel, and Jason Aaron kicked off a new run that was, you know, supposed to fill in gaps in official canon. And then there were other spin-off series that started. Darth Vader, 2 volumes of that, which I personally have found both of them fantastic. So, you know, Star Wars is a touchy subject sometimes for people, but I personally have been really enjoying the quote unquote reboot. It's not technically a reboot. I think it's you know, it's new storytelling to create, I guess, connections in between things that happen in the movies. But
yeah,
that's for me, that's been one of the things I've really enjoyed since coming back to comics a couple years ago. Jason Peace as Vader has been fantastic, both series. I couldn't agree more. And the Karen Gillan run was, I just flew through that run, and the Charles Soule run, which just ended. I just read issue, I think the final issue 25, like a week ago, and
that first issue of Vader Down, that like Vader Down
Vader
special,
Down, yeah,
so good. Like it, I think, like they took Vader and made him what you know, you see at the end of what was that movie called?
Rogue One.
Thank you.
Rogue One, yeah.
Like where you don't get to see that in the original trilogy, which I love, but like they were, you know, kind of had one arm tied behind their back as far as budget and special effects and everything. So they couldn't really make him the Vader we all like imagine.
Right.
And I think like you see that in that issue where he's just like all like his power level is crazy.
Yeah. I know, it's great. I mean, the Soul run, especially which just ended, like takes you through moments that you sort of always imagined that you would have gotten if there was a Darth Vader movie of him eradicating the remaining Jedi in the universe. You know, it's just like it sets off the Star Wars geekdom fandom thing that I have, you know, in my in my nerves every time I'm reading one of those, and I just geek out over it. So
yeah, they're very
I'm throwing that into the mix.
They're very loving additions to the canon.
To the canon,
they're not like, I never felt like they were taking the cheap way out, or you know, not like people just writing them for the sake of writing them. It's like, oh, I have this story that I want to tell because I'm a fan. And
Issues is asking, is Jar Jar in it? So so Fire Guy Ryan also said that he's been enjoying the Age of Republic one shots, which have been coming out. I think Jody Hauser is the writer on those, and I've been getting those as well week to week, and I've been really enjoying those also. So I love self-contained one-shot stories in the Star Wars universe, especially ones that add like further insights. But speaking of Jar Jar, there was an Age of Republic special that came out last week, and there was a panel where essentially he picked up a lightsaber. It wasn't his lightsaber. He didn't do any lightsaber battles, but like I guess the whole internet essentially took that panel and like used it as gasoline against, you know,
the Darth Jar Jar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I thought it was pretty funny.
That's good stuff. Anyone else have any other picks? Otherwise, we can kind of wrap this dog and pony show up.
That's all I got on the comic book front. I mean,
I will say, like, I think there's been several. Donny Cates has reinvented a lot of characters really in fun ways for me. Like I never used to like Venom, and now I'm picking up a Venom book monthly. That, you know, that's certainly for me a bit of a reinvention, and I like his version far more than any other version I've read since maybe the Eric Larson McFarlane days.
Yeah.
And I know he's obviously done it with Ghost Rider by creating this cosmic Ghost Rider variation, or you could say he's reinvented Frank Castle if you'd rather. But and then for me, his vision of the Silver Surfer, which plays a huge role in Thanos, is a phenomenal reboot of that character for me.
Yeah, which again is not visible in this issue.
No, he's well, but yeah, you mean the classic version of Silver Surfer?
No, I just mean that like I couldn't tell you what Silver Surfer's personality or like.
No, I think he only speaks like 4 lines.
I know I'm harping on that, but it kind of dragged the book down for me.
Yeah, I agree. I got issues that God Country is phenomenal. I haven't read Redneck or Baby Teeth, but I love God Country.
I want to check out God Country. That's been on my curiosity list for a long time. I just haven't.
It's just one trade. It's only the 6 issues, and it's just really good.
Cool. I enjoyed it a lot. I like the ending. I know that some people are kind of hit or miss on the ending, but I enjoyed it.
I was fine with it. I was happy with
it. Cool. I know TJ's saying don't go, but.
Well, you want to talk about what we got coming up, or
sure.
some of the plans that we sort of have solidified?
Sort of have, yeah. So if any of you joined John and myself for our impromptu test auction the other night, it was a wild ride to say the least.
Wild impressions.
Yeah, it was a weird one, but we had a lot of fun, and we are planning like an official auction where we're gonna actually sell some better things, and Comic Books NYC is going to be joining us for that, and maybe someone else if they want to poop or get off the pot.
Don't talk about the panda. He's in the chat.
Yeah, no, it's not the panda. We already know he poops on the pot.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I mean, we'll announce it when we have it 100% solidified, I imagine. But I've got some pretty cool lots that I've set aside here. I've got some, there's some runs. I've got some slabs, different eras slabs. So some affordable stuff.
I've got some stuff that hopefully people are going to be into as well. Yeah. We don't have an official date for it yet, but it's probably going to be sometime in early February, I hope.
Yep. Yeah.
We're just trying to lock it down with our schedules and everything. So you guys will certainly hear well ahead of time because we were going to be probably advertising it quite a bit.
I'm sure Legend will be throwing a lot of noise.
Issues, I've got the runs right now. So.
You said how much did that gold foil Superman go for? I don't remember. A few bucks. I've got another one if you want it. I don't know how I ended up with one. Never mind two.
So on my end, I've got my 250 subscriber contest running right now, which it launched like 4 or 5 days ago, and doing pretty well. I think I'm almost at 350 views on the contest video, which is more views than I've ever gotten on a single video, and over 100 comments. It's pretty easy to enter. All you have to do is comment to enter, but you can do a longer comment, get more entries. You can do a video, get more entries. I think there's already 11 or 12 videos out there in 5 days. In 5 days, so I'm pretty happy with that. And you haven't. Everybody's got until March 19th to enter, and I'm giving away 4 3-book comic lots, so 12 total books.
There's good stuff too.
So there's Secret Wars #8 newsstand edition in there. There's Watchmen #1 slab. There's an ASM 252 slab. There's an Adam Hughes lot, signed Adam Hughes book, and then 2 Adam Hughes 9.8 CGC covers. There's a Black Panther #1. There's a New Mutants #1. John Carter #1. So I'm giving away a lot of books. I'm giving back to the community. So if anybody hasn't checked that out yet, I encourage you to do that. And then, like I said at the beginning of the show, I had my birthday haul live stream last night. I'm going to be doing some more of those live streams. Whether I go face or no face, we'll see. I don't know. I feel like I can, do the stream both ways at this point. So I appreciate you guys.
Gives you the options.
Yeah, so I appreciate you guys having me on, and it was a lot of fun. So.
And I am working on a video for that. So
I've got a few videos I'm trying to put together for folks. So you are definitely on my list. I'm trying to get through the end of my contest, which is the 31st is the last official day to enter. So I can then start posting videos, making sure I have everybody tabulated correctly. Because I'll say, if you've gotten 11 videos, you're amazing. I think I've only had like 6. So.
I think it's just because I'm giving away a lot more cool shit. Maybe, I don't know. Let's be real. Like, I'm giving away a bunch of stuff, so people will show up. Who is that? Cherubic face? I can't even say that.
Discovery Bay requests more Statham. I'll definitely have to work on that before I'll try it again. I was not prepared for that one. Like, everyone's tried walking, right? So that's not.
Cassie's commenting about my my accent not being as strong, but I've got a whole channel where my voice has been on it.
I was gonna say your voice has never been a secret.
So I know she's not subscribed.
Hopefully she is now.
So anyway, I mean, the reason why that is like I grew up in Jersey, so I had a lot more of a Jersey Italian thing going on when I grew up, but then I moved to LA after college, so I lived in LA for 10 years, and I only came back to New York 4 or 5 years ago. So so it's slowly coming back on me. Thanks for the sub, Cassie. I appreciate it. I'm just messing around. So
Great Legend is in the chat. Great Legend, we're talking to Comic Books NYC here.
I mean, I'm a chief of some kind, I assume, but I don't know if it's the same chief that the Legend's talking about. What's up, Legend?
Full first appearance, yes.
Yes, this is my first full appearance.
First. Yeah, we've talked before about how I grew up in Rhode Island and I don't really have an accent either. So, I don't know. John doesn't sound like a surfer.
That's because I can't surf for shit. I was too busy reading comic books as a high schooler.
Well, priorities. I think you made the right choice.
Yeah.
No one gets eaten by a shark reading comics.
So, boy, you had 7 just joined late. Yo, 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 is that Kavi? So Kavi is my real name for those of you who don't know that, but some of you know that. But
boy, you're just.
But ComicBooksNYC is what I like to go on here on the channel, so I'm just gonna keep going with that. But if you want to call me Kavi, that's up to you.
I'm gonna call you NYC.
Yeah, a lot easier. I prefer it. So
you represent the state.
Represent. Well, it's a city.
There you go.
I guess you can do the C on the end. That could be for county. Is there a New York County?
Ronathan.
Yes, we all know. I got issues. Name's Ronathan. It's a family name.
So, do you guys have anything else coming up, or I think you guys covered it?
No, I mean I got my Saturday morning comics with the girls, and then I'm trying to shoot some videos for some contests like yours that are going on, and then near the end of the month, I'm gonna have all kinds of stuff going on with my contest and pulling the winners for that, and getting to my first Lost live stream. Get Lost with Mr. John here will come up here at the beginning of February as well.
Yeah, I've been busy lately, so I haven't had time to do a whole lot. So I'll see you next Wednesday.
Hey, and next Wednesday.
What is the book? Who's the guest?
Oh, wait. That's not true at all. I got 2 things I'm doing this weekend, maybe. On Saturday, I don't know if it's happening or not, but so I won't say it unless John wants to confirm.
No, I don't think that we are on for this Saturday.
All right. Sunday.
We are trying to make that live stream happen eventually.
Sunday afternoon, I think 2 o'clock Eastern time. I'm going to be on with Big Will and Jeffrey Comic-Con and maybe some other people talking about who we think the best comic artists are.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
So it should just be a fun discussion in the middle of a Sunday afternoon. Just come and hang out.
Nice.
Put your feet up. No football. So yeah, I was mistaken. I got a lot going on right now.
And then, so next week we looked at the list of books that are coming out next week, and we're woefully disappointed by kind of what's available. And we thought it would be fun because these tend to happen on the months that have an extra week in them, or right where it's down to the wire. That last week is usually pretty much the dregs. We were thinking of trying to do a month recap this next week. So it'll just be Alec and I on my channel, and we will be looking back over the month, kind of making some comments about our favorite thises and that's for the month. So you can come through and share and talk a little bit about the books that you've appreciated the last few weeks.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about, like, we haven't really come up with the exact categories yet, but maybe like something like favorite cover or favorite issue or, things like that. So it's not just going to be like, oh, this was the best book that I read, or, it's going to be somewhat categorical.
Great.
Correct? That was the plan?
That is the plan.
Great. I'm excited.
Well, you can count on me being back in the
Show
chat.
the excited face, Alec.
You can count on me being back in the chat, which is my comfort zone, but in blue. So
you killed it, man. You were absolutely awesome.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Thank you so much for coming on here. And I people don't understand how nerve-wracking this stuff is. I still get real nervous about coming on and doing this stuff. And
I thought I would be more nervous than I was. I think maybe the experience doing the non-face live streams, like I did a couple of those already, helped me, kind of like, take the baby steps to get to this, I guess, But I've never done a single pre-recorded video with my face on it, so I just dove right into the deep water, I guess.
If you can't tell, I'm extraordinarily comfortable with this.
I could, yeah.
He's very comfortable.
I can tell.
Nothing phases him.
Thanks, guys, in the chat. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much all for stopping by. Thank you for Donnie Cates for putting out an average book for once. And thank you to NYC and John for joining us this evening on my channel and letting me talk a little bit. And we'll see you all next week. I really enjoy doing the like one-off shows that we've done. I guess it'll only be really the second one, but the last one was a lot of fun. So looking forward to it. And you're not going to be on vacation shooting it with your phone this time. So
no,
it'll be profesh.
Nice.
Is that what we really do? Professional?
I mean, I do every time. I bring the heat. I bring the fire. If I were an emoji, it would be a flame. And if I got issues with an emoji, he'd be smiling poop, not a panda. Not really. I'd probably be like the upside down smiley face.
I'm usually the face palm emoji. That's going to be one of our questions one week. If you were an emoji, what emoji would you be?
Giddy up. Let's go, guys. Let's not pull a Thanatos here. And
yeah. Yep. Sorry.
Take 2 hours to end the show. Later.
Nope. I'm going to say goodbye right now. Bye.